Welcome to the Bestmed Wellness Program podcast. So today I've got the pleasure of interviewing Kaylin Swart, who's the last line of defense to the South African women's football team. She is goalkeeper to Banyana, and we'll be delving into just the resilience, the fitness regime, of past victories, and just a passion for the sport. Welcome, Kaylin, and thank you so much for joining us today. And how are you feeling?
Awesome, man. Thank you for having me. I feel good. Obviously, coming back from Morocco, I had some time to, reflect and to just recover because it was hectic for a whole month. So, but no, I feel good.
So training-wise, hectic.
Yeah,
Or,
training,
tournament.
tournament football is tough. Obviously, it takes a lot mentally, but also physically. I just took this last couple of weeks just to, get back into my routine again of not just football, go. But no, I feel good, and thanks for having me.
No, awesome. So let's rewind a bit. Where did your love of football begin? Just where did it all start?
I get this question quite often, and if I think back, it's like football wasn't really something that I wanted to do. I was very much into cricket and athletics. I was really good at javelin and shot put. And my dad was very big on athletics too. So that was kind of where I thought my focus was going to be. But I mean, if I think back to when I started playing football, that was just with the boys in the street back home. I think I was around 6, and my dad was like, "You should play for a team." And that's where I started. I played with the boys up until 14, maybe.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I played with the boys up until 14, and then obviously puberty and growing up. And I think I was a lot better than the boys at that time. I think the excuse was, "Oh, you're a girl and you're growing up and puberty's hitting." And my dad didn't really have a problem with it, but obviously everyone around was like, "No, you need to stop playing with the boys now and start with girls." But so that's where it all started for me. And then I think when I got to high school, that's when I kind of realized, okay, maybe football is my calling. But I knew my heart was still with cricket, and I really wanted to pursue that. But I think football just bit me, and I ran with it.
Okay, no, that's excellent. So, growing up, did you always want to be a goalkeeper, or did that only develop later on?
Very late. I think when I started being a goalkeeper, I think I was about 13, going on to 14. But I played striker, I played defender. I literally played everywhere. And then I tried being a goalkeeper, and this is only because of my dad's influence. I've played. I got into goal for the first time, and I hated it at first. And then everything just came naturally to me. And and then I guess how they say the rest is history. It just happened to try out, and then I thought, oh, maybe it's something, because it just came so naturally to me. I was just catching the balls, and I'm crazy already, so diving was never a problem.
So you had that reaction, that's explosive power, that reaction and all that stuff.
Yeah, like obviously catching the ball just felt natural. As much as I love scoring goals and I like to defend, or playing.
But now you're way on the other side of the field.
Exactly. So now I was the one saving the goals. But no, I hated it at first. I did not want to be a goalkeeper. That was never something that I wanted to do. And when it happened, when I look back now, I'm like, maybe my dad saw something that I didn't see. I give him all the credit for making me a goalkeeper.
That's interesting. Very interesting. So what were some of the biggest challenges you faced coming up in South African football? So was there any challenges, coming through the development chains and all those type of things maybe?
Yeah, there was a lot, especially when I started, there was a lot of challenges. I think it was just the exposure, having, women's game, like women football players to look up to. I didn't even know the national team existed that time when I started. And I think also just the resources, the infrastructure, having, proper fields to train on, equipment, all of those things. And I think when I started, development was really slow. So my development comes a lot from my dad, because he was my first coach, and until I got to high school, he was my coach. So he's instilled a lot into me.
So let's quickly ask there, have you got any siblings?
I do have a sibling.
Why did your dad focus on you so much?
Well, my brother is 2 years younger than me. He was sporty, but not as serious as I was. I think once I started, that was all that was on my mind, whether it was cricket, athletics, soccer, I went all in. And I think that's also one thing that my dad was very much happy about, is that I wanted to do it. It wasn't just him pushing it. And I think with my brother, it was more us pushing him and not him pushing himself. So I think that's where the difference was. But yeah, I think all of those challenges, I think also just being a girl and, playing with the boys and being around the boys all the time, it was tough, because there was times where I needed to obviously go to games dressed already, because, the locker rooms weren't accessible.
Yeah, those are things that you actually don't think about.
100%, yeah. And obviously, as you grow older, you become more conscious of your body and, certain things. So yeah, I think that was definitely a challenge for me. But as I got older, you realize that, women's football is not where it should be. And obviously the resources, the financial stability, all of those things really crept in as I got older into my career.
Very interesting, actually. So can you share a defining moment early in your career that made you believe you could go pro, basically? When was that defining moment? Was there a specific time or something that you see, this is actually, I could go places. I could actually do this for a living and start traveling. And
I think my earliest memory was definitely when I was selected for the under-17 national team back in 2010. I was only just 15, and mind you, I just started as an actual goalkeeper not too long after that, or before that. So for me, I didn't really think that I was going to go any further than, just playing in high school and going through an academy and figuring it out after I graduated high school. But
so you were basically scouted still?
Yes. So I left Port Elizabeth when I was 14. That's where I'm from. And I went to the High Performance Center in Pretoria, which is at the Tuck Sport High School. And that's
obviously world-class, excellent.
100%. And the facilities, everything was there. They provided us with adequate training, education, all of that. And I think that's where my life took a turn for the good. Because I don't think I would be sitting here right now talking to you about my career if I didn't go to the academy at that age. And I think when I got to the World Cup in 2010, I think that's when, or leading up to the World Cup, obviously your first camp in the national team, you're still so shaky, you're young, you don't know what to expect. And little did I know that was the start of my journey, because I was still so raw in my position. Like, I just started, so I didn't really think that it was going to take me a year or two to really, take football to the next level. So yeah, that's definitely my earliest memory of thinking.
Were there at least other older players that maybe took you under their wing and maybe said, "Hey, listen," because you're obviously a youngster.
Yeah.
Were they like these people trying to look out for you, trying to...
Well, at under 17, we were all kind of the same age, 14, 15, 16. So once I got to the first team, which is Banyana, which I was still in grade 11, and that's when I realized that I was the youngest, and I was still very raw going into the national team for my first camp. And that's also where I became better, and I became a better player, a better person. I grew up really fast.
You were basically forced.
Yes, 100%. So I grew up really fast, but I always had players, like the older players and the senior players, that I really got close to, that kind of guided me within the system and the national team and how things are. So yeah, that's in grade 11 was probably the first time I realized that, maybe football, there is a future in football.
Sure. No, that's very impressive, I must say. So I've got a question here. What was your experience like playing college football in the US? at Menlo College. Is that
Yeah,
that's
right.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went to the States in 2013, and it was life-changing. I think that's also where I realized that there was so much more out there and what I was missing, playing in South Africa. And the college level right now in America is very close to being pro, because they really take football or sports serious at the college level. They provide you with everything, the proper nutrition, the training, the coaches. When you're in
So they've got physical therapists, there's sport
everything,
scientists,
everything.
gymnasiums.
Yes. So you are able to really progress as a person, but also as a sportsman, because everything was there. The resources it's unlimited, because they provide you with the pro feeling of being.
And you literally only have to focus on your sport.
Yes,
That's it.
you focus on your sport, you go to class, you do well at academics, and obviously if you're not doing well in the classroom, it does affect your football schedule, because there has to be a balance. And I think that's also where I learned a lot of resilience, discipline, all of those things, only because of what they gave me. And when you're provided with all the right things, you want to do well. You
can only do well.
Because you're not focusing on anything else. That's all you're focusing on. And I always tell people I had the best 4 years of my life at playing in America. Because you watch the movies, you see how college life is. It's so different when you're a sports person, because you literally live, eat, breathe football or whatever sport you're in. So yeah, that was definitely an experience that I would recommend to anyone, only because you learn so much about yourself, but you grow so much, because all you have is you and the people around you that, are not where you're from, but it helps you grow, it builds some character, and you become independent. And I think as a sports person, once you're independent and you have everything, around you that's given, I think we can only excel from that, So yeah, that was an amazing experience that I would love those 4 years again.
Yeah, but it's good to hear that you don't actually have the American accent, because a lot of the sportsmen go overseas, come back, and then suddenly an American accent.
Well, if I spoke to you probably 6-7 years ago, then maybe you would have had a different opinion. But I've been back here now for a while, so I think that accent is out the door now.
Yeah. So you went there, came back, and then started getting pulled back into the
national team. Yeah. So while I was in America, I was still coming back and forth for the national team. Because I remember when 2016 we were preparing for the qualifiers for the Olympics, that was in Rio. So I was in South Africa at least maybe once or twice a month. Whenever we had camps, I'd be flying into South Africa, which was taxing in itself, having to fly 15, 16 hours once or twice every month or every 2 months, So yes, I was still part of the national team then, which was amazing, because obviously the school, they loved it, because that was exposure for the school, but also it meant that the players that we had, I want to say that I inspired a lot of them, which if they tell me now, I'd be like, oh, damn, like, that's pretty awesome. But I think for me, just being able to go to school, go to college, finish my degree, and still be in the national team, I think I was so privileged at that time, because not many, when they go overseas or to play in America and go to school, it's pretty tough to leave and come back for the national team. So yeah, that was an experience in itself. So yeah, the national team was always part of my life, which is something that not a lot of people have the privilege to say. And yeah, I'm just grateful that I'm still on the journey.
That's amazing. Yeah. It's beautiful. You're almost like textbook, one of these players that went through all the proper channels and came up there.
Yeah, I went through the ranks. I have gone through the ranks, and there's only a few of us. There's like a handful of us that's gone from the under 17, under 20 into the senior team, which is a privilege. I mean, that's something that I hold really dear to me, because, not many have that opportunity. So I'm just very grateful to be in the seat that I'm in.
No, it's awesome. So who were your mentors or role models that influenced your path? Any,
There's a lot.
that's also a question that normally gets asked.
Yeah.
So
Obviously, the first person that's really inspired me to be where I am is my dad. He's pushed me in so many ways. Like growing up, I was very sheltered. It was sport and home, sport and home. So that's where my love and my passion grew, is because my dad was so passionate about what I was doing, whether it was cricket, athletics, or football. So he's definitely been my mentor. But I have a few coaches that obviously groomed me into the player that I am now. Cheryl Boertes, she's probably the most influential coach I've had. Because if I didn't have it in the high school level, I probably wouldn't have gone on to keep playing with the national team after high school. And yeah, so those two, and obviously my role model player is Hope Solo, the US national team goalkeeper. Well, she's retired now, but she was just iconic, and everything she did, I just wanted to be like her or better than her. So I had some really good people to look up to. Obviously my family, they've really been my support structure. So yeah, those are the influential people in my life.
good. So how did you feel putting on the Banyana jersey for the first time, that moment?
Oh man. You know, I was so young that I didn't really grasp how huge that moment was. The first time I put the jersey on I was literally 15 years old. And that time, like, it was an honor, and it still is to date. I mean, if you look back 10, 15 years, it's a long time. But every time I put on that jersey, you just feel so much pride, because I'm not just doing it for me. I'm doing for the people that can't be where I'm at, where I am. The little girls that are looking up to us as heroes and then looking for inspiration. And I think it's just representation for me is big, because when I have that jersey on and our game is on TV, the little girl will look up and say, "Oh, Kaylin Swart, I want to be like her." If there's one person in my whole career that come to me and say that I did it because of you, I think I would have won at life, because that's for me. I just need one person. That's it. And that's why I hold being in the national team and putting on that jersey every game with so much pride and honor, because it's really something that you have to experience to know what it feels like. But yeah, it's an incredible feeling.
You look still young, so you've still got, I mean, what, 10, 15 years still left?
Oh, I wish.
No. So what has been the most unforgettable match or tournament moment with the national team?
The most memorable one, we have such good memories still today. But if I were to pin it on one, would be the championship match in Morocco in 2022, when we won the African Cup of Nations for the first time. That feeling, I don't think I will ever be able to wipe out of my memory, because I think for us going into that tournament, nobody really gave us a chance. And 2022 was the first time that we really thought that we had so much belief that we were going to win. And the fact that we did win in Morocco, against Morocco, to become champions of Africa was just an incredible feeling. And I think even now, like when we just came back from AFCON and we were in Morocco again, but we were in a very different city. But the feelings of 2022 still came back. And I think that is something that, you can't buy that experience, because for us we lived it and we were in it. And the fact that we had our backs against the wall every match, that's why it felt so much more, like it felt so much more to us, because we really fought for that title. So yeah, that feeling was just amazing. And yeah, I don't think we'll ever have that feeling again.
Just So just talk us through the preparation and pressure that comes with being the last line of defense at international level. Yeah, just
Oh,
the preparation, the pressure that comes with it all,
yeah.
basically.
It's so complex because it's not just one thing that you need to focus on as a goalkeeper. There's so many moving parts. You've got to focus on yourself, focus on the ball, focus on the defense. They always say it takes a crazy kind of person to be a goalkeeper. And it's true because we are nutcases. Like we are the class clowns and, we're throwing our bodies on the floor every 2 seconds, and nobody does that voluntarily, So it's a lot of pressure only because one mistake leads to a goal. Infield players, they make a mistake, they can recover, or they have someone behind them to recover. So for us, being alone, it's such an isolated position. And that's why you got to be in such a different mindset in terms of, being so focused, but you got to be so focused that you can deal with the moving parts that's going around you. But it takes so much work because all our work is done at training. So if you train well, you get the proper training, the proper training days. That's what leads up to a match, because in a match you can stand for 90 minutes and that 91st minute you need to make a save. So it's such a intricate position that the small movements can make a huge difference. So it's just being detail orientated, and also just being focused on your craft, because the more you train, the easier the games become. But obviously international, like when we play in Europe, the top 20 teams in the world, those games are a lot harder than the rest of the games. And then obviously playing in Europe and playing in Africa, two different types of football.
What is it's more difficult there? Is it just the
I think
pressure, the conditions?
Yeah, so when you play obviously the European teams, we recently played England not too long ago. It was just a totally different ball game. And then obviously we played DRC Congo, very different match. So like those, if just for example, those two games, they obviously the high level, high pressure games, we could have beaten England if we were really focused on, scoring the chances that we had. But the fact that we can compete with these top 20 nations and then obviously dominate in Africa, which is always something that we want to do, is dominate Africa, because we believe we are a powerhouse. So we have to obviously show up. If we have that belief, we have to show it on the field. But yeah, it's being a goalkeeper is just, it's so hard, but it's so rewarding, because the tough games is what makes you tougher. And then obviously every game you build character, and every game there's mistakes, but when you come back, that mistake is behind you, and you almost got to have like a mind of a goldfish, they say. So because every game's going to be different, and not one mistake is the same mistake. So it's a really tough mental battle that goalkeepers have with ourselves, because there's just so much that goes into it. And yeah, we just have to show up and perform.
That actually leads me to my next question. So if you do miss, someone gets a goal, you've missed it. How do you mental, just stand up again? How do you recover from it?
Yeah.
Basically. So what do you say to yourself? It's just say, mind of a goldfish. Okay, forget it. Okay, let's try and
It's easier said than done. Obviously for me, I'm very much an overthinker. That's just in my nature, in my personality. I overthink a lot, but when it comes to football, it's like me outside of the field and me on the field. I'm two different people. But some mistakes are harder to get over than others, which is probably something that a lot of goalkeepers will tell you. But conceding a goal is probably our worst nightmare. But how it happens is also what helps us mentally. If it's me that made the mistake, obviously it takes me a little longer to get over it. But if it's a good goal, sometimes you just got to give credit to the opposition, and those ones you kind of want them to score good goals, that it doesn't really affect you, if that makes sense.
I understand.
Yeah.
Then you've got a better almost excuse to say, this is why I'm...
Yes, and also for self-reflection, you want to almost say, okay, score in the top corner, because then I'll sleep better at night, but then I won't be thinking too much about it, because that wasn't my mistake, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I understand.
So, so it is hard, but I think also just as you grow, you realize what's for you and what's not for you, in terms of if you made the mistake or if it was just a really good goal. And I used to battle a lot with conceding. Like, I just couldn't get over conceding. But as you get older, you realize that, these things happen, and how you bounce back is what matters. So, sometimes now I just do self-talk. I just say, all right, on to the next one. Let's go. So that's something that helped me a lot in this last couple of years, as I've gained a lot more strength mentally in terms of having to deal with setbacks and obstacles and, mistakes in the game. So, right now it's just, all right, it happened, move on to the next one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what would you normally do? As you say, you wouldn't beat yourself up too much, but you'd go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Train harder, longer, or what? You just sort of currently just self-talk, just try and get
Well, in the game, there's really not much time to dwell on a mistake or a goal conceded. It's more after the matches. Like, I used to struggle to sleep after. I could have had a good game, but because I conceded,
it replays in your mind.
100%. So it was hard to switch that off, or like not think about it too much. And obviously now with film and games are being recorded, now you can actually sit down and see where it started, how it happened, and what led to the goal. So those are the things that's really helped us as footballers now, is just the fact that we have the resources to look back at games, to see, how things have happened. I think that's a big game changer, especially in our game, in the women's game now, that there's so much more exposure. So now you can actually go back and look at your matches, and now there's so many stats behind it, and obviously science is there now. So it does help a lot with, being at ease with how you play and how you perform. But I used to really overthink, but now it's just, hey, all right, move on to the next one. Let's go.
It's excellent. So how would you describe the growth of women's football in South Africa in the recent years? Has there been any development?
Over the years, I think it's made massive leaps and bounds in terms of the development and, having the continuity within the system. Obviously, in the past, the national team used to get players from the academy that I was at the High Performance Center. And I think those were probably the best times for the system in terms of development and knowing exactly what type of player you're getting, because they were groomed within the system, and all the coaches were part of the national team and part of the federation. So they knew exactly what it took for us to be at the top. And obviously now I want to say it took a dip the last couple of years. I don't think it's been as fluid as it used to be back in the day.
Do you think they're cutting down on funding, or is it just...
I think it's the lack of funding. I think it's more lack of funding than cutting down on funding. Because obviously with development, you need to have the resources to pump in, to invest, and to make sure that, there's enough food or there's enough equipment and the girls have a place to stay. So there's a lot of things that I think was the reason why the development took a dip. But the fact now that, people are watching us on TV now, our national team has grown. We have players playing abroad. The academies are growing. There's more enthusiasm within the schools, with women's football now. And girls actually want to play football. So that is definitely something that I see growth in is the enthusiasm and the actual girls that are wanting to play. But I do think there's still a long way to go within, the football in South Africa, especially women's football. But there's been so much growth, and I think now we kind of stagnant a little. So now I think this next couple months is where we really need to own in on what we really want, because some of us are probably on our way out. So now we need to figure out how we're going to continue the legacy and make sure the culture is right, and the girls still want to play once we're out. So there's so many things, but yeah, I do think the development is growing, but there's still a lot more to be done.
Okay. So goalkeeping is such a high pressure position. So how do you mentally prepare before big games? We've now spoken about, obviously, if you've missed an opportunity or something. So how do you mentally prepare? Does the match play in your mind the whole time? Are you your worst enemy? Or are you just pitching up there and you're ready to go?
I wish it was that easy to just get up and go. But like I said, everything starts at training. The week leading up to a match or 2 weeks leading up to a tournament, doesn't matter if it's in a tournament or it's a match.
And then your body just goes into autopilot, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
There's a lot of autopilot moments in football, and especially as a goalkeeper, because like I said, all our work is done at training. So obviously we try to do a lot of game-specific situations. You kind of train towards the opposition and what they might do. So a lot of the things is situational. But I'm a very big visual person. So like I will watch the games of our opposition, or like look at their trends and what they do and how they build up, or if they do a lot of crosses or do they take long shots. So those are a lot of the things that obviously you look at, and that comes with, like, you grow as a player, but you also grow mentally, because now you kind of prepare yourself more now than what we did when we were younger. When we were younger, we just pitch up and be like, okay, we're playing this team. All right, cool, let's go. But now, because football has grown so much and that the level is so high now and the expectations is a lot more. So yeah, you do have to prepare your
You're becoming more professional.
100%.
That's all it's about.
And you obviously got to prepare a lot more mentally now. And so yeah, obviously on game day I try to relax as much as I can. I do a lot of visual work. Like sometimes I'll like lay and take a nap before match, because then I feel ready and I feel rested. But yeah, it's a lot of visual work and just trying to study as much as you can. And obviously the coaches give you some tips that what might happen and how to go about things. But yeah, everything's done at training. And yeah, if sometimes you get to a match and what you prepare, how you prepared and what you prepared doesn't happen all the time. So you got to know what to do, where to go, how to kick the ball, so there's a lot of things that happen on a whim. But yeah, sometimes you just got to think on your feet, and that's just the name of the game.
Okay. So what does a typical training week look like for you? Like, you've obviously got an off season maybe, and a pre-season and an in-season.
Yeah.
How do you normally break up your training regime? Or
yeah. So because our league runs right through the year, we don't really have an off season. Like we'll have a break in December, which is like 2, 3, 4 weeks. But usually during season, I train every day. So we train 4 days a week. It just depends on whether we play on a Saturday or Sunday. But yeah, Mondays I'll be in the gym, and then
for how long normally? Like, and you have like a set routine, so you'll train for like an hour, get out of there, and or is it 2-hour training, and then is it all sports specific training?
Yeah.
Where you got like Monday you're doing chest and back, Tuesday you're doing this. Was it all throughout the year, just sports specific?
Yeah, very sports specific. So a lot
all explosive power focus.
100%, absolutely. A lot of my work in the gym is explosive work, trying to get upper body strength, make sure my hammies, my quads are strong enough to kick the ball over the halfway line.
And keep you injury free. That's what it's
Exactly.
about.
And I think that's the main thing, is just being
prolong your longevity in your sport
100%.
specifically.
Absolutely. And obviously there's recovery days. And I think now at my big age, as I got older, I realized how important recovery is, because I knew all these things, but I was very not ignorant. I just didn't have enough knowledge on how to go about it. But as I got older, I realized that I needed to put in the work. I couldn't wait for other people, to say, a coach says, oh, you need to meet me in the gym. No, now I'm meeting the coach in the gym, so that's the difference in mindset. But so training right through the week. I'll have gym 3-4 times a week, and then football 3-4 times a week. And obviously in the gym an hour and a half, on the field about 2 hours.
And then you mentioned the recovery side of things. What
Yeah.
do you normally do?
Well-
Cold plunge, sauna, sports massage?
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, for me, I believe in an ice bath.
Ice bath?
Yes, I really believe in an ice bath. I think that's also carried me throughout the years, is I believe in ice bath.
And then how long can you normally stay in there? Like,
No, I can stay 15-20 minutes if I want to. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And it's what normally, like, do you know what's the temperature?
Well, the last couple that I've been in, I think about 4 degrees.
Yes.
3, 4, 5. Yeah. So it's been super cold, but I think it's probably the most effective for me. And obviously you do sports massages and all of that, but for me, ice bath, rest, and then, the recovery boots, the compression boots and all of those things. It's a big part of my life now, because obviously I want to continue to play for a very long time. So I've also realized how important recovery is.
You're bringing that science into your sport.
100%, because when you're younger, you just go. You don't realize that your body's taking a toll. People are saying, oh, you need to do ice bath. And you're like, maybe I'll do it today or I'll do it tomorrow. But yeah, now it's non-negotiable for me now. Recovery is big time. And yeah, I think when you get older and you realize how demanding the sport has come, that's when you realize, hey, it's not just pitching up anymore. You got to do so much more than just showing up and doing what you love.
Excellent. So when you're not on the pitch, what does your perfect day look like for you? So if you're not on the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and so I would go off like
Yeah, do you have off time?
Yeah, like an off day, or like,
do you go to the movies?
Yeah.
Or like, what do you?
Yeah, so like an off day would, now our off days are Wednesdays, and then if we play on a Saturday, we're off on a Sunday. So during the week, I sleep late as possible. I do some mobility. I'll go to the gym or go for a walk with my dog. But on the weekend, I love farmers markets. I love picnics. I think all my time is spent at a new restaurant. I love trying new food. So that's definitely, like, that's where I switch off. And yeah, just spending time with my family, with my dog now. I spend a lot of time with my dog, actually. But yeah, going on walks, going to picnics. I love outdoor.
So you're a foodie.
I am a foodie.
Yeah.
I love trying new food, and wherever there's a new place or new cuisine, I love trying different countries' foods. So I explore a lot when it comes to food.
You want to explore the culture.
Absolutely. And I think the best way to explore culture is through food. And yeah, I love outdoors. I love going on hikes. I love being by the pool, having a braai with my mates. So that's how I switch off on my off days when I'm not playing football.
Interesting. So what music pumps you up before your games? Is there a specific artist that you listen to?
Not really,
genre?
but I love, like, pump up or like upbeat pop music.
Anything with a fast beat?
Yes. And then David Guetta is probably one of my favorites. People probably find it weird, but I like his music. But yeah, I listen to
I don't
everything.
find it weird. It's opposites, and
Yeah.
he's a good artist. So
Absolutely.
it's got some great hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swedish House Mafia. I love those guys. So yeah, that's the type of music I play just to keep me upbeat. And then more or less 20 minutes before warm up, I kind of just mellow down a little. I don't really listen to music. Then I'll just sit there and just meditate or just be in a calm state, get into my zone. But yeah, I'm a very weird character.
So what advice would you give young girls in South Africa who dream of playing professionally one day? So is there any advice?
So I always say the advice that I would give my younger self is the advice I'd give to the next generation, is just believe in what you want to do, because your dreams are valid. There's a reason why you love something. So if you love it, you're going to go for it, right? And also just to never give up. There's always going to be obstacles. There's always going to be people in your corner that are going to support you, and there's people in your corner that might not. But that one person that supports you, that's who you listen to, because that one person can change so much in your life and how you think about yourself. And yeah, just work hard, but have fun, because when the fun is gone, the love dwindles a little bit. And that's where you also kind of find yourself, is when the fun is gone, what do I do? And that's why I always say, just have fun, do what you want to do, achieve your dreams, because only you can do that. Nobody else can do it for you. So yeah, just have fun, and yeah, if you love it, go for it.
Okay. So what's next for Kaylin Swart on and off the pitch?
On the pitch, I think right now it's just focus on club football for a little bit. We're doing really well. My club at JVW Football Club. We have quite a bit of games coming up now, just to catch up on what we missed. But yeah, it's just, and then obviously we have a couple months to, reset and come back together as a national team to qualify for AFCON next year. So these next couple months are going to be hectic and demanding.
But obviously you're up for the challenge.
Absolutely. I'm very excited because there's so much growth within the team. Players have gotten better individually. So the excitement is a lot more now, but also because we're in such a transition period where there's players that are, new to the squad and, trying to find their feet, but they're very talented. And also, so obviously the seniors we're trying to get better so that they can get better. But yeah, that's just football wise, just go. There's really no break football.
Yeah, there's no off the pitch.
No,
literally just on the pitch.
But off the pitch, I think just, trying to think about now my life outside of football and after football. So yeah, I would love to continue with Supersport doing the Champions League nights. But yeah, I would love to be a sports broadcaster. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. And obviously now that I'm able to do it while I'm playing, it's massive, and I couldn't have asked for a better opportunity. But yeah, just relax and live my life. That's how I see it now.
So any final thoughts or message you'd like to share with your fans? Any final words?
I have a lot of good people around me, and I have a lot of good support. But all I can say is thank you to the fans and to the people that are with me, that's in my corner, because without them, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't know how good I am, how good of a person I am, a goalkeeper I am, if I didn't have people in my corner saying these, good things about me. But yeah, I can only say thank you to the fans, and I hope that they continue to support us and be behind us, because we wouldn't be where we are as a team if we didn't have their support. So we got to say thank you and just continue doing what you do.
And with that being said, I think that brings us to the end of our podcast for today. Kaylin, I want to thank you for opening up your journey is obviously just inspirational, and I can see there's a real passion for the sport, and you are only an inspiration to the young athletes out there. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of you in the future. Good luck, and thank you to everybody for joining us today.